She was as free as she'd ever dreamed, and freedom was empty, not exhilarating. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host, Liam, aka Himbar, and today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Lynn Abbey's The Wooden Sword. Sword is a 1991 novel by Lynn Abbey and book one of Walensor, which is a duology. Barika is 16-year-old shepherdess, and her life seems full of ill luck. She has three options. The one is to show ability with magic and access the web before she turns 17 and become a sorceress. The other option is to go and become a beguine, a beggar really at a sort of monastery. That's an actual historical idea I hadn't heard of before. The word beg-hards is also related. Her third option is to turn 17, be declared a woman and marry an ugly and brutal man she has no attraction to or liking of. Of course, the king, with the war just ended with the Arizons, or Arizons, or however you say it, set all beguines free. So unless she shows some magical ability, her lot will be to become a wife to, well, in this cruddy circumstance. The first couple chapters are very gripping. I thought Abby has the best character work. I sometimes feel it's the best I've ever read, honestly. I don't know, a lot of people don't seem to like it though. Her people are very human, and the story is about them. The plot is secondary, and with realistic characters, they're not always likable themselves. I immediately felt Barika's plight and really enjoyed the weird call to adventure. This is her story, though she is not like great. She is kind of the hero of her story, of course. We meet a mysterious man or being that is not quite a man called Dart as well early on. He is important, and some parts are from his point of view. In fact, he is in some ways the other main character. He is party colored, which means his hair has several shades, and this means he is addled or crazy, according to the people of Walensor's superstition. The idea of what he is comes up often. Is he a man or is he not? And what exactly is up with him? Well, it's a teenage protagonist. It definitely came off as adult to me. Maybe what someone would call a new adult today. Not really sure there. I just call it adult. The struggle is about the injustices women can face, that maybe love is a woman's enemy. It's also about gods and fate and what is in a name. It kind of subverts what many probably think fantasy is, but this isn't really Tolkien-esque, though it's not really Howard-esque either. Seems to stem from Abbey's own style, I'd wager, influenced by both, probably. Very subtly, Abbey reveals the world is quite terrible and like a prison, at least for someone like Barika. It's the plight of the culture and its poverty. It's bad for men and women, but certainly worse for women. It's almost tragic, and the slow build-up to quick release is a mire for the characters, all while the villains are in some ways understandable and pitied as well. And the villains themselves are probably not what you're thinking of when I say the word as well. Once it does build up enough, there is a small explosion before more build-up as well near the end. And so who is the antagonist? To me, it felt like it was the world itself. It seemed like to show up in all of the characters, including our protagonist. I don't think Abby didn't know what she was doing, like many reviewers seem to when I look at them. But she is purposely playing with fantasy novel idea, I think, here. The big bad is never seen. He stays off screen and essentially is not a threat, like it is in most mundane realities. It is very perplexing, but also very gripping, and Abby is very subtle, and I appreciated her deviations here. We also have ideas of God answering prayers, and this idea of a selfish God. The web also works as a communication network, and so those considered outlaws have a hard time hiding. It's a take at classic fantasy tropes which glorify the elite, like in Morris, for example. Common folk don't ride horses, and common folk don't meet mysterious ladies who give them magic swords and magic harps and make them champions. And that last part being a quote from the book. She doesn't get rid of them entirely. For example, there is an amnesia trope, of course. Seems some things are left out of the narration, implied vaguely only. If you're not paying attention, maybe you'll miss things. The word was decently inaccurate since the information presented, and it is dubious at best. Expectations matter, and I found this one to be one of the most interesting stories I've read in a while, and I wish more people would read Abby and then understand her. I felt like the ending is a little bit of a cliffhanger, and it works better if you read the second book, Beneath the Web, which I'll probably review here soon, even though I read it a few months after reading this first one. But as of right now, this book and its sequel, which I liked even more, are sitting as some of my favorite books of the year. They were very unexpected. I read most of this one in one night, so very gripping to me. I don't know if I'm just delusional and I'm the only one who really likes Abby so much besides my buddy Karth. And so I'm hoping someone else would read this, and then you can talk to me about it and see if I'm just full of hot air, I guess. Anyways, Liam from Liam's Lyceum. I'll catch you next time.